look at it from a sociological standpoint, you begin to appreciate that in the West, they have no memory of their past. They're completely focused on the future. And because they're always completely focused on the future, they're always drawing their frequency of oppression into manifesting into every now, because the future is not there yet. And that's why, because it's not relevant, the lessons of the past don't exist. There is no past. There's no reverence for what was. There only is and will be. There is no is. As soon as it's an is, it's passé. It's always enticement for what will be. And if you go to the other side of the world, in that space, there's only what was. And there is no future. So what you have in a social, in a macro perspective, is you have individuals that have taken oneness and spliced it into 3 different portals: the now, the future, and the past. And the only way to have balance and continuity is to bring past, present, and future into the now. To be mindful of the past, to broadcast positivity for the future, and lose yourself in the flow of the now. That is the only path to realigning the polarities, the fractions of oneness. And infinity only flows through oneness. Infinity is a singularity. Eternity. So if you want to draw on eternity, you must draw on oneness. Well, that's on a macro level. In a micro level, individuals each come with different fragments of energies. They're all necessary. They all have to play their song because they play a role of a particular step in the actualization of understanding and true love. And so before individuals can arrive at true love, they must love conditionally. And they must understand the futility of loving conditionally. So that every individual, there's a purpose for them to resonate what they're saying, and as soon as they're obsolete, they won't be here singing it anymore. There are enough people that have a lot of work to do in the school we call life. So these people need to sing their song, sing their music. And what I do is I'm kind of like I'm a cheat code. I break the program and I broadcast the coordinates for turning the darkness into light. And I'm not playing by their game anymore. I'm not interested in slow evolution, because evolution is always through struggle and strain. And there's no time anymore to waste, because people are hurting. And so it's important. And there's technologies that are great analogies to be able to understand these concepts and this understanding that were imparted to this world and this dimension in order to make it able that people should be able to access this insight. Because it used to be too abstract. You'd have to spend a year on a single concept. And now I could talk about a network, and I could talk about, internet or whichever, and I can still, we have now a portal, a rubric for understanding of how all source could be one and many. You see? So yes, it's true, she is able to experience a lot of things, and there are people who can experience the torment of Adolf Hitler, and for what good? What does it teach you? The lesson Adolf Hitler had to teach was here on this world. I don't think there was many individuals who taught the light as well as he did. But actualizing such darkness, he made it so obvious that there's only one path. And the world actualized and did a time jump in their evolution in a huge way after the events that he did. It's a different take on it, granted. Not to praise what he did, but to understand that individuals who resonate and base their frequencies play the role of teaching you from the perspective without intimacy. And so these individuals also play a role, but they will become obsolete in their messaging. And you'll be there when they feel shame to comfort them and tell them that they played an important role in the school of life. And that you needn't feel bad. You can write a letter to Anne Rice and tell her that she needn't feel bad about all those books she wrote, for it. Every frequency is sacred. In the higher light, there's no such thing as profane or sacred. It's all one. In the archetype of the Bible, the tree of knowledge was called the sages call it the tree of truth and falsehood. The real tree and the tree of virtuality. You can make infinite variables of virtual worlds and perceptions that have nothing to do with reality. The problem is that when you're not indoctrinated into those virtual worlds and you're from the outside, it looks so simple. What is it that they're tempted with and what is it that they're lost in? Because you're locked into the truth. But when you're knee-deep in vertigo and you don't know what's up or down or right or left, then truth is very elusive. And in the archetypal legend, that is the downfall of the original sin. That all the great masters say that Adam took from the fruit thinking that he'd be able to draw on greater intimacy because he'd earn it. But he had no understanding of what virtuality is, what falsehood is, so he didn't know what he was getting into. And once he was stuck in it, he couldn't get out in that archetype. And it's an archetype, it's true, but it's not linear and dimensional of this world. So there is a purpose for each color and for each frequency. There's a purpose. And when you understand that they play a sacred role, then you begin to open up in your love for all, and you have a greater love for the greater wholeness of all, and that light, and that more powerful, potent light of creating something from nothing, of freedom, of igniting passion, of recreating and co-creating in a way that is eternal and lasting.